here we are again. Different day, similar hat. I'm running out of hats, I'm running out of walls. It seems to have been here for forever now. And although some businesses are starting to go back to work or have been given the opportunity where they might be able to go back to work, even if it's only part-time or staggered, then I'm a driving instructor. I can't socially distance in the car. So I'll be one of the very last people to go back, probably. Although I've applied and passed my test so that I can teach key workers. I'm just waiting for the badge to come through, and hopefully it'll get me out of the house a little bit and do some of what I should be doing. But even then, under very tight restrictions. There's a song that I love, and it's a bit quirky, and it's by Black Oak, Arkansas. And I won't play it you because PRS regulations, that kind of thing. And I won't sing it for the same reason. And you really don't want to hear me singing. But the first lines are, everybody wants to make it, nobody wants to try. Everybody wants to see heaven, nobody wants to die. Okay? And that is so true. We all want a better life, we all want a better thing. But sometimes we're not prepared to give up what we've got now to go and get that. And I will put a disclaimer in and say, don't think there's any rush to die to see heaven. Okay, stay alive as long as you can. But the point is that heaven is not. If you think it's a great palace in the sky or whatever you believe, great. But heaven, we can have heaven on earth. And really, it's what's inside us that makes it heaven. So it doesn't have to be physical. It's just a feeling. It's a place that we want to be at. Whether it's an achievement that we do. But to get there, sometimes we've got to let a little bit of ourselves die. Whether that's a little bit inside, whether it's possessions, whether it's leaving a job to go to somewhere else, which is more heavenly. We've got to do it. And sometimes it just means coming out of our comfort zone and making that leap of faith and going off. And I'm going to relay an experience of mine, and I know other people have had very, very similar experiences. Millions of people have had similar experiences. When I awoke, shall we say, okay, I used to do meditations. I still do, but meditation is one of those wonderful things. It just takes you back to your inner self and allows your soul and your spirit to come through. But I used to have meditations. I used to meet with spirit guides, like a lot of mediums do, like a lot of spiritual people do. And there was one particular meditation that we did, and I was with my spirit guide. If you can imagine an area that's, I suppose, is like the Grand Canyon. It's a massive canyon, and we were on the top of the canyons, and we were running as fast as the wind would take us. So we're running like the wind. My spirit guide at the side of me. It's our Native American spirit guide. And then suddenly we came to a sudden stop, because we realized we were on the edge of the cliff, looking down into this massive deep canyon. And there was a pause. And we looked at each other. And then allowed ourselves to both fall into the canyon. Don't try this at home. And as we fell, there was a feeling of peace as we turned into golden eagles. And there was an absolute feeling of peace, just floating in the sky, looking down at what had now become a tiny blue river. I could see the tops of the trees way down in the distance. And it was a magical experience. And we floated down to the bottom. And then we landed on our own two legs, back to where we started originally, back in the form that we were original. Now, I understand for spiritual people that people saying, yeah, we've done that, I've done it loads of times, and I can relate to that. And I can imagine for non-spiritual people who don't do this kind of thing, probably wondering what drugs I was taking. But what the point of the story is, it was probably the first time where I'd been asked to take a leap of faith. I've done it through my life when I've taken jobs. We all do it. But it was a leap of faith. It was the feeling that I could just walk back away from the edge of the cliff and live my life normally and never know the feeling of freedom and exploration that we can get. Or I can put all the fear behind me and I can see what happens. And I did it. And not only did I do it and find that I got so much more out of it than I've ever got in any meditation in the past, but I could also see more clearly. So instead of seeing a tree, I could now see the whole forest. Instead of seeing a part of the river, I could now see the whole river. And I could see it from such a vantage point that was so high up in the sky. And that was probably the first time in a spiritual sense that I took a leap of faith. And I've been doing it ever since. So I've been coming out of my comfort zones ever since. As the people around me will tell you. And I've been fortunate that I've had some great teachers and people who've led me on the path and guided me in certain things and discussed things. The reason I'm saying it is we're in a point of time in the human race where we're going to be changing, and it's already changed very dramatically. And what we have to decide is, do we want to stay on the cliff and never know what our lives could have become? Or are we prepared to take this opportunity, because of this crisis that we're in, to just take a leap of faith and say, whatever comes of this, we're ready to take it, and we will take it. And the opportunity is there for us not only to come out of our comfort zone, which we've already done, into a world that could be so much better for us, but as well, we can make that world a better place. So by the questions we're asking at the moment and the thoughts that we're having at the moment while we're locked down and working in difficult situations, we can then say, well, when we come out of this, we don't want the world to be back where it was. We want a better world. We want a more transparent world. So I'm going to carry on taking leaps of faith. I'm going to carry on coming out of my comfort zone. Although heaven knows I've come out of quite a few, stepped out of quite a few and wondered what I was playing at. But it's always been for the betterment of my future, my soul, my experience. And I think as a society and as a global population, we've got the opportunity to do the same thing on this one, but do it on a massive scale as individuals, but also as a massive group.